Okay, ready to do some more multiplying fractions? Today it's find a fraction of a fraction. We've been finding fractions of whole numbers before today, and I think that this is even easier. Okay, so if you want to know the fraction of something, you multiply. If we wanted to know what half of 1 was, let's do this for a second. So you'll see how easy this is. If you have one whole apple, you tell me if you divided that into half, how many halves would you have? 2. So our answer is going to be 2. Okay, so you do 1 whole apple times 1/2. No, what did I do wrong? 1 is 1. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I did the wrong way. Okay, if you had 1 apple and you want to know what half of the apple was, let's try an easier one. Let's try 2. Okay, if you had 2 apples and you want to know what 1/2 of 2 is, duh, you have 1 apple here, 1 apple here, half of 2 is 1. So you put 2 over 1. 2 times 1 is 2, 1 times 2 is 2, and what does, when you have all pieces, you have 1. Okay, so that's finding the fraction of a whole number. Today we're finding a fraction of a fraction. So let's say we have an apple, but we only have half of it. Pretend this half is gone. Okay, and we wanted to know what 1/2 of 1/2 is. Well, if you were to cut this one into half, what fraction is that? Let me give you a hint. If I do it on the other side, maybe that helps. It's a fourth, right? So you would do 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4. And what I was doing a second ago is what's 1/2 of 1? It's 1/2, and that's why we ended up with 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 1 is 2. I wasn't asking the question right. Okay, see how that works? And believe it or not, I use this all the time when I'm baking, because sometimes I have a big family, so I double it a lot, and sometimes maybe double is too much, but one single recipe is not enough, so maybe I would do it 1.5 times. I do that all the time. And so I do this. I multiply fractions to get the right answers of all the ingredients. Okay, so this is a little trickier today because they're having us repartition. Remember how we did that before? And to me, that's kind of tricky. So hold on, we can do this together. Okay, here's the story problem. The Anderson family has a garden in their backyard. They planted vegetables in 3/4 of the garden. In the other fourth of the garden, they planted pumpkins and melons. Those take a lot of space. Find the fraction of the whole garden that is corn if 2/3 of the vegetable section was planted in corn. Okay, so we don't need to know about the fourth with the melons. We're going to be in the vegetable garden, which is 3/4 of their garden. So we want to know what 2/3 of 3/4 is. So we're going to multiply them together. So over here, they show you multiplying. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. So if we were to reduce that, that should jump out at you saying, what do you recognize there? That's a half, right? So that means half of their 3/4, right? Yeah. Or is it half of the whole thing? No, it would be half of 3/4. So half of it will be corn, okay? Then they showed down here a way to draw it, kind of. It says first, okay, here's the garden right here. Here's the garden, and they divided it into 4 sections, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. This white section would be the one with the melons and the pumpkins, okay? Because they said they were going to 3/4 of it was vegetables. So these 3 yellow ones are the 3/4 that they're going to use for vegetables. Then to find 2/3 of 3/4, you've got to partition the figure into thirds because we want to know what 2/3 of it is. Okay, so it says shade 2 of the 3 sections blue. Okay, so they took these fourths from over here and see the dotted line right here? They made it into thirds. Here's 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, right? There's the thirds, and 2/3 of the sections blue. I don't understand the blue part. 2/3 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this would be again, 4/8, which is a half. All right. Shade 2 of the section, 3 sections blue. Looks like to me they just shaded those two blue. Let me read this part. The double shaded area represents 2/3 of the vegetable portion of the garden. Oh, so there's the 8s is what they're saying. So here's the corn. No, this is the corn. This is what's left over, and this is still melons, I think. Like I said, when you start drawing these, they confuse me a little bit. So I hope I don't confuse you. Hopefully you're getting it better than I do. All right, let's see what we can do with this. There. Oh, look at that. They even showed the pictures. I like that. So here's 2/3. So see, it is a half of the whole. That's what I thought. A whole half of the garden is corn. These are corn plants. And then here's some other kinds. And here's the melons. 2 kinds of melons. Or no, that's melons and pumpkins. Is that a white pumpkin? Have you seen white pumpkins? It's either a white pumpkin or another kind of melon. I don't know. It could be cantaloupe. This is lettuce. And I don't know what those two would be. Maybe they show up better on yours. Okay, so 2/3, half of the garden was corn. And that sounds about right. Corn takes up a lot of space too. All right, so here we go. We are going to try to draw this, even though, like I said, it's kind of fuzzy to me, but let's see what we can do. Okay, 3/4, and if we do the problem first, then we'll kind of know what we're supposed to be drawing. Although it's supposed to go the other way. You're supposed to use this to help you figure it out. And maybe that works for you, but it doesn't quite work for me. Okay, so we start off with we've got a half here. Okay, and we need 3/4. Let's try drawing it first and just see. Okay, so 4ths, whoops. I'm always doing that. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, so I can do this into 4ths. There's half, and then divide each half into half. Okay, that makes 4ths, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we took and we divided into 4ths. And we want 3 of those 4ths, so that would be these, because this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. We're going to leave that 4th alone, and so that's 6. Let's see if that works. If 3/4 of 1/2 is, wait a minute, this would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Oh, and then half of that. Okay, so forget about this totally. We're just using 3/4. So half of the 3/4 would be, now it's into, let's see. We took the 4ths and we divided them into half. So when you divide a 4th into half, it becomes 8ths, okay? So here's 4ths. You just always multiply the denominator by 2. So if I divided that one into half, that one into half, that one into half, that one into half, now we have what? 8ths. So 1/4 equals 2/8, doesn't it? Okay, so we have the 3/4, and half of that would be 1, 2, 3/8. Because this is an 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. Okay, let's see if I'm right. If I'm right, it should be 3/8, these right here. Okay? 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 2 is 3/8. Do you see? Hey, we did one. Yay! Okay, let's look at the next one. As long as they stick to easy fractions, it's not too bad. Or maybe we learn better if we do the easy ones. Okay, so 1/2 times 5, 6. Uh-oh, they didn't give us any help here. Okay, so we need a half. Do you want half this way or half this way? I think I'm going to stick with half this way. Okay, so forget about this section. We're just looking at 1/2. And we want to know what 5/6 of 1/2 is. So we need to divide this one into 6 sections. So divide it into half first. And then we need 3 on each. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mine are not exactly equal, but it's close enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we now have 6/6. and we want 5/6 of a half. So forget about that one, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do the problem and see what's up. 1 times 5 is 5. To me, this is so much easier. 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, so these are in sixths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so in order to do this properly, we can't forget about this. This would be the other sixths. Okay, so here's 1 6, 2 6, 3 6, 4 6, 5 6, 6 sixths. And when we only take half of a sixth, we take a 12th. Remember, to do half of anything, you divide a 6 into half, it's going to be 12ths. You divide a 4th into half, it's going to be 8ths. You double it. You divide a half into halves, you're going to have a 4th. Yeah. If you're going to do a 10th, half of a 10th, it'll be 1/20th. You always just double it, the denominator, and that tells you what half of it is. Okay? So since it's 5 12s, now we have 12s by dividing this into half. So this is 1/12, 2 12, 3 12, 4 12, 5 12s, 6 12, 7 12, 8 12, 9 12, 10 12, 11 12, 12 12. Do you see? I see it. Hopefully you do too. I didn't get it though until we did that. So we're getting better at this. This next one should be super, super easy. Why didn't they start with the easiest ones first? These are so easy. You know what? I'm going to leave those two for you guys because those two are super easy and I think you'll get them by yourselves. Okay, so let's go down to number 5. 3/8 times 1/2. 1/2 of 3/8. Okay, so make your half. Actually, let's wait. Let's make the eighths first. Okay, I'm going to make my eighths this way. So I'm going to divide this into half, and then I need another half, divide that into half, and then these two into halves. That should give me 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the same on the other side. Divide this one into half. That gives you 4ths. And divide the half into half gives you 8ths. Okay? 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. Okay? So, but we're only working with 3 of those. Okay, so let's do these 3 right here. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, right there. Okay, so a half of, okay, so forget about these. This is the other 5/8 that's not in the problem because we're only working with 3/8. Do you see that? So these 3/8, just these right here, what's half of those? So we take those and we cut them in half. And when we cut them in half, they became 16ths. And half of those would be 1/16, 2/16, 3/16. Okay, so let's see if this works out to 3/16. I think it's going to. 3 times 1 is 3. 8 times 2 is 3/16. We're getting this, or at least I am. I hope you are too, because it was kind of confusing. I'm glad we started easy. Well, we didn't really start easy. But those other 2 that we skipped, you guys will have fun because those are easy. Okay, 6. 1/2 times 2/3. I'm just going to end up with leaving you with 2. Just do number 3 and 4 by yourselves. Okay, we need a half again. We're going to do 2/3 of a half. Okay, so we make our half again. That's not very good, but it'll do. And then 2/3. So we need to make this into thirds. 1/3. 2/3, 3/3. So here's a third, here's a third, here's a third. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Okay? Half, let's see, 2/3 of half. Okay, so that means 2 of these. And remember, this is a third all the way through, this is a third all the way through, this is a third all the way through. Okay, so I shouldn't have drawn this yet. I should have started with that. Okay, so let's go backwards here for a second. Okay, so we made it into thirds. Okay, so 1/3 is here, 2/3, 3/3, and we want half of 2/3. So forget about this one because we're working with 2/3, and we just want half of it. So then we do half. And if you cut thirds into half, it ends up being 6ths. 1 6, 2 sixths. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 6. Did it say we had to simplify? Oh, we do. Write the answer in lowest terms. Do we have to draw a picture of lowest terms? Actually, our picture does show us lowest terms. Because lowest terms, okay, both of those can be divided by 2. Or some of those others need to be divided. We didn't do that, did we? 3 eighths, 5 twelfths, 1 fourth, 1 16th. Now, this is really the first one we've had to reduce. Okay, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so a half of 2/3 is 1/3. And that would be, okay, let's do it this way. Because this was 1/3. Okay, so if we divided it in half that way, it would end up being 1/3. 2 6 equals 1/3. Do you see it? Okay. Yeah, it equals 1/3 because once we erase this again, see, we're back to 1/3. So 2 6, that would be here and here, equals 1/3. Do you see? So it does work in pictures. One more picture. Oh no, there's 2 more. Okay, good. Fun. I think these are fun. Okay, number 7. 2 fifths. Oh, getting trickier. And 2/3. So we're going to divide. Let's go with the fifths. Oh, that's hard to do. You can't really do that one very evenly without a ruler. That's okay. Okay, divide into fifths. 1 2 3 4 5. There's fifths. Oops. Okay, and we want 2/3. So let's go this way with our thirds. Okay, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. So we only want 2/3 of it. Okay, so here's 1/3, 2/3 equals, let's see, when we divide thirds into, oh boy, what do we have total here? 1 2 3 4 5 times 3. We actually have these in 15ths at the moment. Okay, so this is 1/15, this is 2/15, this is 3/15, and so forth. Each box is a 15th. Okay, we're only doing 2/3, so here's a third, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Do you see 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, and we just want 2/3. 1/3, 2/3. Okay, and we want 2/5 of 2/3. 2/3 of 2/5 actually. So 2/5. Okay, when we did our fifths, this was 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and I did this backwards because we started doing these instead. So let me go this way. Okay, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. So we want 2/5 that were part of our 2/3. Okay, so 2/5, that's these two. Okay, so how many 15ths does that equal? This is 1/15, 2/15, 3/15, 4/15. Do you see? Okay, let's see if that works out. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. We did it. And that cannot be reduced. So that's the final answer. And we drew pictures. We're getting good at this. I'm so excited. Okay, one more, number 8. And like I said, I skipped just these two. And these two are super easy. If you need help, you can have a parent help you, or you can text me, but it's kind of hard to do it, to explain it in words. But hopefully you'll get it. I'm hoping you're going to get it. All right, again, you've got sixths and fourths. I'm going to go with the sixths first because that's going to be harder to do. Okay, so I would do it in thirds first, and then each half of each third is a sixth. So there's 1, 2, 3. Should be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 1 6, this is 2 6, 3 6, and so forth. Okay, and 3/4. Okay, now we're going to do the other way, fourths. There's half, and half of half is a fourth, and half of half is a fourth. So you got 1/4 this way, 2/4 this way, 3/4 this way, 4/4, and we need 3/4. So we're gonna get rid of this part, and we want 1/6. The 6 were this way. Okay, so 1/6 would be right here, I think. And all these little boxes, how many little boxes do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4. So every one of these little boxes is 1/24. 2/24, 3/24, 4/24, 5/24, 6/24, 7/24. You get it? We keep going. Every box is a 24th. So if we have 1/6, remember these are the 6s, and we're not using that. We're just doing the 3/4. There's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So it's this cross section right here. So it should be 1/24, 2/24, 3/24. I think we got it. Let's do this. 1 times 3 is 3. 6 times 4 is, woo, 24. We did it. Oops, except that one can be reduced because 3 can go into 24, right? So if we did this back into, oh, okay, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So can you see eighths here? This is fourths. So, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so for eighths, it would have to be, oh, okay, eighths would be half of the fourths. So each fourth would have to be into half. And so then you have 1/8, 2/8, there's 2/8 there, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, da da da. Oh, no, that's not what I meant to do. No, that's wrong. I didn't do that right at all. How is this an eighth? It's 3/24, which is an eighth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There it is. Okay, 3 makes 1/8. So here's 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, and then that's 3 squares each, right? So 3 more here, 7/8, 8/8. Da 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 da. So 3/24 is the same as 1 of the eighths. Wow. But don't you feel accomplished now that we figured that out? It really twists your brain a little. Really twists your brain. It twists mine, you can see. But it's helpful because it kind of makes your brain understand. Oh, kind of helps you understand. If you don't totally understand, it's okay. All right, then on the back it says to solve by multiplying the numerators and multiplying the denominators. So we're back to the same thing that we've been doing. Okay, no pictures this time, just multiply across. So 1 times 2 is 2, 4 times 3 is 12. Both of those can be divided by 2 because they're both even numbers. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So your answer is 1/6. So those are easy. And the very bottom there, or the next section, you have to do story problems. And always write it in its lowest terms, always reduce. Okay, on this section right here, they don't give you any room to draw a picture. So if you want to, you can cross out, draw a picture to help you, since it's supposed to be to help you. If you want to draw a picture there, great. But if you don't, you can skip that if you'd like to. And then the very bottom says to complete the equation, match the property you need. Oh, I gotta have this over like this. Okay, so 0 property, commutative, associative identity. Okay, so whenever it equals 0, what does it say to do here? Complete the equation. Oh, that's for the letter. I was like, what do we do over here? Okay, So since this is 0, it's going to be the 0 property. A, and 7/10 times what would be 0? Can you see that? Yes, 7/10 times 0 is 0, right? Okay, this times 2/3 is the same as 2/3 times 5/8. 5/8, right? 5/8 times 2/3 is the same as 2/3 times 5/8. That's like looking in a mirror. They're looking at a mirror at each other. And so that's where they mutate. B, hey, A and B are in the right order. Weird, okay. Well, 3/4 in parentheses times something times 1/3 is the same as 3/4 times 1/5 times 1/3 in parentheses. So we just need the same numbers on each side. This one's missing 1/5. And we call that the associative. Wow, they just kept these in order. Okay, and then 7/8 times what would be 7/8? Times 1. Remember, the 1 is its identity. It starts with an I. It's like a Roman numeral 1. So that one is D. 7/8 times 1 is 7/8. See? You thought that was going to be a hard section. It wasn't. Okay, the rest of it's yours. Enjoy. Have fun. See you later, alligator.